Ms. Wiz Spells Trouble by Terence Blacker. Chapter 1. A New Arrival. Most teachers are strange, and the teachers at St. Barnabas School were no exception. Yet it's almost certain that none of them, not Mr. Gilbert, the head teacher, who liked to pick his nose during assembly, not Mrs. Hicks, who talked to her teddies in class, not Miss Gomez, who smoked cigarettes in the toilet, none of them was quite as odd as Class 3's new teacher. Some of the children in Class 3 thought she was a witch. Others said she was a hippie. A few of them thought she was just a bit mad. But they all agreed that there had never been anyone quite like her at St. Barnabas School before. This is her story. I wonder what you think she was. As soon as their new teacher walked into the classroom on the first day of term, the children of Class 3 sensed that there was something different about her. She was quite tall, with long black hair and bright green eyes. She wore tight jeans and a purple blouse. Her fingers were decorated with several large rings and black nail varnish. She looked as if she were on her way to a disco, not teaching at a school. Most surprising of all, she wasn't frightened. Class 3 was known in the school as the problem class. It had a reputation for being difficult and noisy, for having what was called a disruptive element. Miss Jones, their last teacher, had left the school in tears, but none of that seemed to worry this strange-looking new teacher. "My name is Miss Wisdom," she said, in a quiet but firm voice. "So what do you say to me every morning when I walk in?" "Good morning, Miss Wisdom," said Class 3 unenthusiastically. "Wrong," said the teacher, with a flash of her green eyes. "You say, 'Hi, Ms. Wiz.'" Jack, who was one of Class 3's disruptive element, giggled at the back of the class. "Yo!" he said, in a silly American accent. "Why, hi, Ms. Wiz." Caroline, the class dreamer, was paying attention for a change. "Why is it Ms. Ms.?" she asked. "Well," said Ms. Wiz, "I'm not a Mrs. because I'm not married, thank goodness. And I'm not a Miss because I think Miss sounds silly for a grown woman, don't you?" "Not as silly as Ms.," muttered Katrina, who liked to find fault wherever possible. "And why Wiz?" asked a rather large boy sitting in the front row. It was Podge, who was probably the most annoying and certainly the greediest boy in the class. "Wiz," said Ms. Wiz with a mysterious smile. "Just you wait and see." Ms. Wiz reached inside a big leather bag that she had placed beside her desk. She pulled out a china cat. "That," she said, placing the cat carefully on her desk, "is my friend Hecate the cat. She's watching you all the time. She sees everything and hears everything. She's my spy." Ms. Wiz turned to the blackboard. "Weird," muttered Jack. An odd hissing sound came from the china cat. Its eyes lit up like torches. "Hecate sees you even when my back is turned," said Ms. Wiz, who now faced the class. "Will the person who said weird spell it, please?" Everyone stared at Jack, who blushed. "IT," he stammered. No one laughed. "WI, wrong," said Ms. Wiz. WEIRD. If you don't know how to spell a word, Jack, don't use it. She patted the china cat. "Good girl, Hecate," she said. "How did she know my name?" whispered Jack. The new teacher smiled. "Children, remember one thing. Ms. Wiz knows everything." Now, she said briskly, pay attention, please. Talking of spelling, I'm going to give you a first lesson in casting spells. Oh, great, said Katrina grumpily. Now we've got a witch for a teacher. Hecate the cat hissed angrily. No, Katrina, not a witch, said Ms. Wiz sharply. We don't call them witches these days. It gives people the wrong idea. We call them paranormal operatives. Now, any suggestions for our first spell? Podge put up his hand immediately. Can we turn our crayons into lollipops, please, Miss? He asked. No, said Ms. Wiz. Spells are not for personal greed. How about turning Class 2 into frogs? Asked Katrina. Nor are they for revenge. There will be no unpleasant spells around here while I'm your teacher, said Ms. Wiz, before adding, almost as an afterthought, unless they're deserved, of course. She looked out of the window. In the playground, Mr. Brown, the school caretaker, was sweeping up leaves. Please draw the playground, said Ms. Wiz. Imagine it without any leaves. The best picture will create the spell. Almost for the first time in living memory, Class 3 worked in complete quiet. Katrina didn't complain that someone had nicked her pencil. Caroline managed to concentrate on her work. Podge forgot to look in his trouser pocket for one last sweet. Not a single paper pellet was shot across the room by Jack. At the end of the lesson, Ms. Wiz looked at the drawings carefully. Well, they're all quite good, she said eventually, but I think I like Caroline's the best. She took Caroline's drawing and carefully taped it to the window. Please close your eyes while I cast the spell, she said. There was a curious humming noise as Class 3 sat, eyes closed, in silence. Open, said Ms. Wiz after a few seconds. Regard Caroline's work. The children looked at Caroline's drawing. It was steaming slightly, and in one corner there was a freshly drawn pile of leaves. Hey, look at the playground, shouted Katrina. Everyone looked out of the window. To their amazement, the leaves on the ground had disappeared. Mr. Brown stood by his wheelbarrow, scratching his head. Weird, said Jack. Very weird indeed.